The ship shuddered as it pierced Zithra's thin atmosphere. Outside, jagged mountains stretched across the horizon, their peaks glowing faintly under the planet's twin suns. Human pilot Ravi gripped the controls, his knuckles white, but his mind was focused. This mission was supposed to be simple: survey the planet, collect samples, and report back. Yet, from the moment he entered Zithra's orbit, he sensed something unusual. Zithra was alive in ways humans rarely saw. The wind sang across crystalline cliffs. Strange plants shimmered with colors he couldn't name, and distant roars echoed across the valleys. But what made this planet most remarkable was the Zyra race that had earned a reputation across multiple galaxies: strong, beautiful, and cunning. The Zyra females were almost mythical. Stories said no one dared approach them. They were untouchable, even to other alien races. Ravi's ship touched down on a flat plateau near a river of glowing blue water. He stepped out in his lightweight suit. Feeling the ground hum beneath his boots, his eyes scanned the area. That's when he saw them, a group of Zyra females standing on the cliffs above. They were tall and elegant, with skin that shimmered faintly like polished metal. Their eyes, wide and bright, watched him silently. They said nothing, but their gaze was sharp, almost judging. Ravi swallowed. He knew he should stay back. Every training manual, every mission briefing warned him, never approach Zyra females. Yet, something in him stirred not fear, but curiosity. Something about the way they moved, how they watched the world with such calm intensity, drew him in. He walked slowly, hands raised to show he meant no harm. The Zyra females didn't move closer, but they didn't retreat either. It was as if they were testing him. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the plateau. Rocks tumbled down the cliffs, and a small landslide trapped one of the Zyra females beneath. A pile of debris. The others froze, unsure what to do. Humans rarely intervened in their world. Most would run. Ravi didn't hesitate. He sprinted forward, lifting rocks and debris as quickly as he could. The female beneath the rubble let out a soft cry, more of a sound than a word. Ravi's heart raced. He had never approached a Zyra female before, but he couldn't leave her there. Finally, with one last heave, he cleared the stones. She lay on the ground, shaken but alive. I'm fine, she said in a voice that was calm but cautious. Her name was Nara, and Ravi had learned it from the way another female murmured. Ravi offered his hand. Are you hurt? He asked. Nara hesitated. Then, slowly, she took it. She rose to her feet, brushing dust from her metallic-hued skin. The other Zyra females remained silent, observing. You help me, Nara said finally. Her voice quiet but firm. Humans usually, they don't interfere. Ravi shrugged slightly. I couldn't leave you there. It didn't feel right, Nara's eyes studied him, sharp and thoughtful. You are brave or foolish, maybe a little of both. Ravi replied with a small smile. The moment felt strange. There was tension, yes, but also a connection. The other Zyra females murmured to each other, some expression showing concern, others curiosity. Ravi realized he had done something almost unthinkable. He had approached the untouchable. Over the next few hours, Ravi remained near the river, quietly observing the Zyra females. Nara stayed close, though not too close. She was cautious, but she didn't retreat. They exchanged small gestures, hand signals, nods, and eventually words. Ravi asked about their world, and Nara responded carefully, testing him. What do humans want here? She asked, her voice still guarded. Just to learn, Ravi said honestly. We've heard of your planet, of your race. I wanted to see it myself, to understand. Nara considered this. Many come with greed or weapons. Humans are loud, destructive. They do not respect life. I know, Ravi admitted. That's why I try to be different. I want to understand, not conquer. She seemed to study him for a long moment, then nodded slightly. We will see. As the twin suns began to set, the plateau glowed in golden light. Ravi and Nara sat near the river, sharing a quiet moment. Ravi watched the Zyra females from a distance, aware that he was an outsider, yet feeling a strange sense of hope. Suddenly, The ground shook again, not from a quake, but from movement deeper in the cliffs. Ravi instinctively stood, scanning the shadows. Nara rose beside him, her expression alert. Whatever it was, it had caught both their attention. A shadow moved swiftly across the cliffs, large, fast, and unknown. Ravi's heart pounded. Zithra was not just dangerous because of the Zyra. The planet itself was alive, full of predators and unknown threats. But he felt ready, not because he was fearless, but because he was determined. Nara's gaze met his. There was no fear there, only sharp intelligence and curiosity. "You will stay?" she asked softly. "I will," Ravi said. The other Zyra females remained on the cliffs, watching silently. Some frowned, others whispered. But for the first time, a human had crossed a line they thought no one could. As night fell on Zithra, the glowing rivers and mountains cast a surreal light over the plateau. Ravi and Nara, human and Zyra, sat side by side to beings from completely different worlds, yet sharing the first spark of understanding. The galaxy had long whispered about the untouchable Zyra females, but now, for the first time, a human had dared to approach one, and it had changed everything. Little did Ravi know, this was only the beginning. The planet had more secrets, more dangers, and the Zyra females held more challenges than he could imagine. But for the first time, he felt that humans could be seen as more than weak, small creatures. Perhaps, here on Zithra, they could prove themselves. The morning sun bathed the plateau in soft golden light. Ravi had spent the night near the glowing river, listening to the hum of Zithra's strange wildlife. Nara had returned to the cliffs after nightfall, leaving him to rest, but her presence lingered in his mind. He could still feel the sharp intelligence in her gaze, and a part of him wondered what it would take to earn her trust fully. Ravi began exploring the nearby area cautiously. The plateau was dotted with plants that shimmered in every color of the spectrum. Some of them seemed harmless, while others gave off a faint electrical charge. He carefully collected samples, jotting down notes in his tablet every now and then. He looked up at the cliffs, half expecting to see Nara or one of her companions watching. As the morning grew brighter, he saw movement above. A group of Zyra females had gathered, their expressions cautious. They didn't approach, but they didn't leave either. Ravi held up a hand in greeting, and after a moment of hesitation, Nara descended the slope carefully, joining him at the river bank. "You continue exploring," she said, her voice calm but edged with curiosity. "Humans are small, fragile, yet you move like you belong here." "I've always wanted to understand things I don't know," Ravi said. "I want to learn, not destroy." Nara studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Words are easy, actions, that is what matters." Ravi smiled. "Then I'll show you." Over the next few days, Ravi proved himself in small ways. He repaired damaged tools left by the Zyra, using techniques they had never seen. He found ways to filter the glowing river water into something safe for drinking. He learned the basics of their language quickly, mimicking tones and gestures with care. Nara watched all of this silently, sometimes offering subtle corrections, other times simply observing. The other Zyra females still kept their distance. Some whispered among themselves, while others watched him with suspicion. It was clear that Ravi's presence was unusual. No human had ever dared approach them, let alone stay in their territory. Yet he persisted, showing patience and respect, never overstepping boundaries. One afternoon, while Ravi was collecting a sample from a glowing plant, a sudden shriek echoed from the cliffs. A young Zyra female had slipped and twisted her ankle. On the rocky slope, she cried out in sharp pain, and the group of females froze, unsure what to do. Ravi didn't hesitate. He ran up the slope carefully, keeping his hands visible. "I can help," he called. Nara appeared beside him, her expression tense. "Be careful. She is small. But the rocks, they are dangerous." Using careful movements, Ravi reached the young Zyra. "I won't hurt you," he said softly. He examined her ankle, improvising a splint from nearby branches and vines. The young Zyra winced but allowed him to work. Once the splint was secure, Ravi helped her back to a safe spot on The plateau. Nara watched silently, her eyes softening slightly. You risk yourself for us, she said quietly. No human has done this before. I don't think it's about humans or Zyra, Ravi replied. It's about doing what's right. Nara studied him for a long moment. She was silent, but Ravi could see her thoughts running deep. Then she nodded. Perhaps you are not like the others. Over the next few days, Ravi and Nara began spending more time together. She guided him to areas where he could safely explore, pointing out plants, rocks, and minor creatures that were harmless. He listened carefully, asking questions and learning quickly. You want to understand everything, Nara said one day as they watched the glowing river. Most humans are loud, greedy, or impatient. You are different. Why? Ravi looked at her thoughtfully. Because I want to prove that humans can be more, that we can be brave, kind, and respectful. I want to earn trust, not demand. Nara seemed surprised by his answer. She tilted her head, watching him closely. Trust is not easy to earn here. We have been cautious for many generations. We have seen many who tried and failed. I understand, Ravi said. I just hope I can succeed where others could not. The days passed, and Ravi continued small acts of kindness and ingenuity. He helped repair shelters damaged by recent storms, cleaned and filtered water, and even helped tend to minor injuries among the Zyra females. Slowly, he began to feel a sense of belonging, though he knew he was still far from fully accepted. One evening, as the twin suns set and the sky turned shades of orange and purple, Nara led Ravi to a secluded area of the plateau. It was a quiet place, far from the watchful eyes of the other Zyra. You learn quickly, she said softly, and you show respect. That is unusual. Most humans, they try to take what they want. You do not. Ravi smiled. I want to understand your world, not change it. Humans have much to learn from the Zyra, and maybe we can teach you a few things too. Nara's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Perhaps, but trust is fragile. One wrong step, and it can break. I'll be careful, Ravi said. For the first time, Nara allowed herself a small smile. We will see, she said as night fell over Zithra. Ravi felt a strange sense of hope. He had crossed boundaries no human had dared to cross before. The Zyra females were watching him, judging him, but he had proven he could act with courage, intelligence, and respect. And Nara, she was beginning to see him not as an outsider, but as someone who could stand beside them, someone who might one day be worthy of their trust. Ravi knew this was only the beginning. The planet held many dangers, the Zyra had many secrets, and trust was fragile. But for the first time, he felt that humans could be more than outsiders here. Perhaps they could be allies, friends, even something greater. And for the first time, Ravi felt that his presence on Zithra might change not only the way the Zyra saw humans, but also the way humans saw themselves. Ravi had been on Zithra for several days now. He was learning more about the Zyra females, especially Nara, who had become his cautious guide and companion. The other Zyra still kept their distance, whispering among themselves and watching him closely. But Ravi was no longer afraid. He had proven that humans could act with respect and courage, and he felt ready for anything the planet could throw at him. It was mid-afternoon when the first warning signs appeared. The ground trembled beneath his boots, small rocks bouncing along the plateau. At first, Ravi thought it was another minor quake. Zithra was prone to them, but then he heard it, a deep, guttural roar echoing through the cliffs. It was close, too close. Nara peered from behind a large boulder, her eyes wide with concern. It comes from the cliffs, a predator, one that hunts in packs. We must hide. Ravi's heart raced. He had studied Zithra's wildlife from afar, but he had never faced one up close. Yet he didn't run. Instead, he scanned the surroundings. The plateau was scattered with rocks, trees, and glowing plants. If used correctly, they could be a trap. Follow me, he said to Nara. We can use the terrain to our advantage. Nara hesitated but nodded. She signaled to the other nearby Zyra females to stay calm and follow him. Some of them looked doubtful. Humans had never fought alongside the Zyra. Most would have run. The first predator emerged from the shadows, a massive creature with sharp claws, glowing eyes, and a thick armored hide. Its roar shook the plateau again, and small rocks tumbled. From the cliffs, the Zyra females gasped, instinctively moving back. Ravi stepped forward, raising his hands in a gesture to keep them safe. "Stay close to me," he shouted. "Use the rocks for cover." He led them through a narrow path between jagged cliffs. Using rocks as barriers, the predator lunged, and Ravi threw a small rock to distract it. It paused for a moment, giving them just enough time to move further along the path. Another roar echoed. More creatures emerged, smaller, faster, but equally dangerous. The Zyra females froze. Fear in their eyes, Ravi didn't hesitate. He picked up a sturdy branch and swung it at the nearest creature, striking its side and buying a few seconds of safety. Nara followed his lead, using a sharp rock to block an attack and guide one of the younger females out of harm's way. Ravi's heart pounded, but he felt a strange clarity. This was a situation where human ingenuity mattered. He noticed a small gap between two cliffs that the predators couldn't fit through. If he could lead the Zyra females there, they could escape safely. "Here, this way," he shouted, motioning for them to follow. With careful coordination, he guided Nara and the others through the narrow pass. The predators growled and roared but couldn't follow. Ravi checked behind them, ensuring no one was left exposed. Once they were safe on the other side, Ravi took a moment to catch his breath. Nara looked at him with a mixture of awe and gratitude. "You risked yourself for us," she said, her voice quiet but full of emotion. "No human has ever done this." Ravi shook his head. "I couldn't let anyone get hurt. It doesn't matter if they're Zyra or human. We all deserve safety." The younger Zyra females whispered among themselves, some glancing at Ravi with newfound respect. Even a few older females nodded slowly, acknowledging his bravery. Nara stepped closer. "Your actions, they are not like humans I have heard of. You are clever, fast-thinking, and you care. That is rare." Ravi smiled, though he was still panting from the adrenaline. "I've had to survive in many situations, but today was about helping you, about proving humans can do more than you think." The predators eventually retreated into the cliffs, but the tension remained. Ravi knew Zithra was full of dangers, and this encounter was only a taste. Yet, something had shifted. The Zyra females no longer saw him as a simple human outsider. They had seen him act with courage, protect them, and use his mind as well as his strength. That evening, as the twin suns began to set, Ravi and Nara walked together along the riverbank. The water reflected the orange and purple skies, and the air was filled with the soft hum of Zithra's nocturnal creatures. "You have proven yourself today," Nara said, her voice softer than usual. "Perhaps humans are not as weak as we were told." Ravi nodded. "We can be strong in ways you might not expect. Bravery is not about size or strength alone. It's about protecting others, thinking clearly, and taking action when needed." Nara's eyes softened, but her caution remained. "You speak wisely, yet trust. Trust is built over time. Many humans fail to show patience. Many act for themselves. I understand." Ravi said, "That's why I stay. I want to learn, to prove humans can be different. And I want to earn your trust, not force it." The other Zyra females stayed at a distance, observing quietly. Ravi noticed subtle changes in their expressions, curiosity replacing suspicion, admiration creeping in alongside wariness. As night fell, Ravi set up a small fire using techniques he had learned from studying Zithra's natural resources. He cooked some of the food he had brought, offering it to Nara. She accepted a small portion, tasting it cautiously. "You share food," she said. "Humans usually keep for themselves. I believe sharing is a way to show respect." Ravi replied, "It builds bonds, even between very different species." Nara nodded slowly. "Perhaps there's more to humans than we were told. Today, you have proven it, for the first time." Ravi felt a sense of belonging. The Zyra females were still cautious, but they had begun to see him as more than a stranger. Nara, in particular, seemed to recognize something in him that others did not, a combination of courage, intelligence, and empathy. Ravi knew this was only the beginning. Zithra held more challenges, more dangers, and more secrets. The Zyra females had long lived isolated, untouchable, and careful. But today, a human had crossed a line that no one else had dared, and for the first time, the Zyra were beginning to wonder if humans could be allies, protectors, and maybe even friends. As the stars appeared in Zithra's sky, Ravi sat beside Nara, feeling a quiet sense of hope. He had survived his first real test, earned a measure of respect, and taken the first step toward bridging the gap between humans and the untouchable Zyra females. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new challenges. But for tonight, he had proven something important. Humans could be more than outsiders. They could be heroes in ways the galaxy had never expected. The morning sun rose over Zithra, casting long golden beams across the jagged cliffs. Ravi and Nara stood on the riverbank, the quiet glow of the water reflecting in their eyes. After the dangerous encounter with the predators, the tension had eased slightly, but the Zyra females were still cautious. Ravi knew that respect had been earned in part, but full trust would take more than courage alone could achieve. Nara approached him cautiously, a small smile on her face. "There's a test," she said, "a ritual of courage and wisdom. Humans have never participated. Few outsiders have even seen it, but you may try." Ravi blinked in surprise. "A test? I would be honored. What do I need to do?" Nara's eyes held a spark of challenge. "It is not simple. You must navigate the high cliffs, survive the maze of shadows, and solve the trials of Zithra. Each step tests courage, intelligence, and compassion. Fail, and you return empty-handed. Succeed, and the Zyra will know your heart." Ravi straightened. "Then I will do it. Show me the way." The path began with the high cliffs, a treacherous series of jagged rocks that rose hundreds of meters above the river valley. Ravi followed Nara carefully, watching each step. The cliffs were slippery, and the wind gusted sharply, threatening to knock him off balance. "You must remain calm," Nara advised. "Fear makes mistakes. Each step matters." Ravi nodded, focusing on steady breathing and careful foot placement. He noticed loose rocks and marked safer paths, remembering the patterns of wind and light. Several times, he helped Nara navigate tricky spots, showing that humans could act with intelligence and thoughtfulness, not just brute strength. After hours of careful climbing, they reached the entrance to the maze of shadows. It was a dense forest of glowing plants, their light creating moving shadows that could confuse even the most alert. The air smelled faintly of minerals and rain, and strange sounds echoed from deep within. "This is where wisdom is tested," Nara explained. "Many lose their way, giving into fear or impatience." Ravi entered the maze, letting his senses guide him. He watched the light patterns on the ground, noting how shadows move with the swaying plants. At times, the path seemed impossible, but he used logic and observation to find safe passage. Nara followed silently, clearly impressed by his steady focus. Partway through, they encountered a small creature trapped under a fallen branch. It chirped in distress, and Nara hesitated. Most Zyra would leave it was not part of the test. Ravi knelt carefully, lifting the branch to free the creature. It darted away, unharmed. "Compassion is part of the trial," Ravi said softly. "Strength alone is not enough." Nara's eyes widened slightly. "Few humans think this way," she said. "You show care even when not required. That is rare." After hours navigating the maze of shadows, they reached the trials of Zithra, a series of challenges designed to test courage, creativity, and intelligence. The first trial involved crossing a river of glowing water, the current swift and strong. Using vines and carefully placed rocks, Ravi constructed a safe path for Nara and himself. The second trial was a puzzle of natural formation, stones, plants, and reflective surfaces arranged to form patterns. Ravi studied the arrangement carefully, recognizing a logic hidden in nature itself. Slowly, he rearranged the pieces in the correct order, and a path forward opened. Finally, the third trial tested empathy and leadership. A group of younger Zyra females were trapped in a simulated danger zone, and Ravi had to guide them safely using only strategy, communication, and patience. He gave clear instructions, encouraged the frightened Zyra, and kept everyone safe, without force or fear. When he completed the trials, Nara stepped forward, her eyes shining with admiration. You have passed. Few Zyra, even males, succeed in all 3 trials. You have shown courage, wisdom, and compassion. You are remarkable. Ravi bowed slightly. Thank you. I wanted to show that humans can be more than outsiders, that we can earn respect through action, thought, and care. Nara smiled, the first full smile Ravi had seen from a Zyra female. You have done more than survive. You have proven your heart. The Zyra will know that humans are not to be dismissed. Perhaps we can learn from each other. As they walked back toward the riverbank, the other Zyra females appeared. They watched silently at first, then nodded in approval. Some whispered among themselves, and Ravi realized that his actions were beginning to shift their perception. They were still cautious, but respect had grown where suspicion once ruled. That evening, Ravi and Nara sat by the glowing river, discussing the trials. Most humans would have given up. Nara said, many would have rushed, panicked, or ignored the smaller beings in need. You acted differently. I think every being deserves respect, Ravi replied. No matter how small or different. That is what being brave truly means. Nara's eyes softened. You are changing the way we see humans. Not all will accept it, but some, perhaps more than we thought. Ravi nodded. He knew it would take time, but he had made a start. For centuries, humans had been considered weak or untrustworthy by the Zyra. Today, he had taken the first step toward changing that dot as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the plateau. Ravi felt a sense of accomplishment. He had faced danger, solved complex challenges, and shown compassion, all while respecting the Zyra and their world. And most importantly, he had proven that humans could act with courage, intelligence, and honor, even in the most alien and dangerous places. Nara leaned slightly closer. Tomorrow, we begin something new, she said quietly. You have shown what humans can do, but the world of Zithra, it is more tests, more dangers. And the females of my people, they will watch, judge, and perhaps even trust you more. Ravi smiled, feeling a deep sense of purpose. I'm ready. I want to learn, and I want to show that humans can stand as allies, not just strangers. Nara's eyes glimmered in the fading light. Perhaps the untouchable may not be untouchable forever. And with that, the first true bond between human and Zyra female began to grow, a bond built on respect, courage, and understanding, and one that might change the fate of Zithra itself. The plateau was quiet in the early morning, but Ravi could sense a shift in the air. The Zyra females had grown more comfortable around him, and Nara often walked beside him, guiding him through the glowing rivers and rocky cliffs. Yet, not all Zyra were pleased. Some of the males had begun to watch him closely, their expressions sharp, eyes full of suspicion. Ravi had heard the stories from Nara. The Zyra males were proud, competitive, and protective of their females. They valued strength above all else. And a human challenging their traditions, however, respectfully, was not easily accepted. As Ravi and Nara walked toward the river to collect water, a group of Zyra males appeared on the cliffs above. Their armor glinted in the morning sun, and their expressions were stern. Ravi felt their gaze like a physical weight. Ravi, Nara whispered, "Be careful. They are testing you. Some think you have overstepped." Ravi nodded. "I will respect their ways, but I won't run from fear." The lead male, a tall Zyra with silver-hued skin named Kiro, stepped forward. "Human," he said, his voice deep and commanding, "you have been seen among the females. You perform tasks that are not yours. Why should you not be removed from our lands?" Ravi took a calm breath. "I have not sought to take anything from your people. I have only acted to help, to learn, and to show that humans can be allies, not threats." Kiro's eyes narrowed. "Words are easy, actions Only strength and courage matter here. The females may be curious, but the males of our tribe are responsible. Why should we believe you are more than a stranger? Nara stepped forward, her eyes meeting Kiro's. He has passed the trials of Zithra. He has shown courage, wisdom, and compassion. You have seen the danger we faced. He did not run. He saved us. Kiro's gaze shifted to the other males, and murmurs ran through the group. Some frowned, others seemed thoughtful. Still, a few males snorted, clearly skeptical. Ravi spoke again, steady and respectful. I am not asking for your trust. I am offering it. I will respect your ways, follow your rules, and protect your people when needed. My actions will speak louder than my words. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then Kiro tilted his head. Slightly, perhaps humans are more adaptable than we believed, but trust must be earned further. One mistake, one misstep, and you will be gone. Ravi nodded. I understand. I will not fail. The tension eased slightly, though Ravi knew it was fragile. The Zyra males were still wary, and any wrong move could undo the progress he had made. Over the next few days, Ravi worked closely with both Nara and the other females. He repaired structures damaged by storms, helped gather food, and assisted in tending to minor injuries. Each act was observed closely by the males. Some still whispered, their eyes suspicious, but others began to nod in quiet approval. One afternoon, a new threat emerged. A sudden landslide blocked a vital water channel, and the nearby Zyra settlement was at risk of losing access to fresh water. Panic began to ripple among the younger females, and a few males looked on uncertainly. Ravi didn't hesitate. He studied the situation, observing the rocks, soil, and flow of water. Using simple tools and careful planning, he guided the Zyra to redirect the river temporarily, creating a safe path for the water to reach the settlement. The effort required patience, logic, and coordination. When the water flowed safely again, Nora approached him with a smile. You have shown not only bravery, but cleverness. Humans, perhaps you are more than we were told. The lead male, Kiro, stepped forward again. His expression was still stern, but there was a hint of respect in his eyes. You saved the water. That is no small task. Humans are clever. I see this now. Perhaps there is value in your presence. Ravi bowed slightly. I'm honored. I only wish to help and learn. Over the next few days, the tension among the males began to shift. Some remained skeptical, still observing him closely. But more males began to nod approvingly when he succeeded in tasks or offered helpful advice. Ravi realized that trust was a slow process, especially in a society so careful and proud as the Zyra. Nara continued to guide him, explaining customs, gestures, and subtle rules of communication. She taught him which actions were considered respectful, which words showed honor, and how to read the unspoken cues of the Zyra. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Ravi sat with Nara near the glowing river. It is not easy, he said quietly. I can feel their eyes on me constantly. One mistake, and it could all be gone. Nara smiled softly. True. But you have already done what no human has done before. You crossed lines others never dared. You faced danger and risked yourself for us. That matters. Ravi nodded. I just hope my actions continue to speak louder than my presence. They will, Nara said. Some of the males are already seeing what I see. You are brave, clever, and kind. That is rare, even among Zyra. The plateau was quiet, the glowing river reflecting the stars above. Ravi felt a deep sense of purpose. He had navigated danger, earned partial respect from the males, and strengthened bonds with Nara and the females. Yet he knew the journey was far from over. Tomorrow, new challenges would arise. Perhaps tests of strategy, courage, or diplomacy. The males of the Zyra were proud and wary, and only through continued respect, intelligence, and action could Ravi secure his place as an ally rather than an outsider. But for now, he had proven something important. Humans could act with honor and intelligence, even in alien lands. And slowly, the untouchable Zyra females and some of their skeptical males were beginning to see him not just as a human, but as someone who could stand among them, respected and trusted. As Ravi watched the stars reflect on the glowing river, he felt hope. He had faced the first real political challenge of his journey and survived with honor. And he knew that each day, each act of courage and wisdom brought him closer to bridging the gap between humans and the Zyra, a gap that had seemed unbreakable for generations. The morning mist hung low over the plateau, making the glowing rivers appear even more magical. Ravi stood beside Nara, scanning the horizon. The Zyra settlement below was peaceful for now, but Ravi's instincts told him that calm could not last forever. Zithra was unpredictable, and danger often arrived without warning. Suddenly, a distant rumble echoed across the cliffs. Birds and small creatures scattered, and the ground vibrated beneath their feet. Nara's eyes narrowed. "Something approaches," she said quietly. "Not from our world, not Zyra." Ravi's heart raced, but he remained calm. "What do you mean?" he asked. Nara pointed to the horizon. "Another race, a rival species. They have come to take what is ours. We must prepare." The rival aliens were unlike anything Ravi had seen. Tall, armored, and heavily armed, they moved with precision, their ships hovering just above the cliffs. Their intent was clear. They wanted the settlement and its resources. Panic spread among the Zyra females, and the males began organizing defensive positions. Ravi stepped forward. "We need a plan. I can help you defend the settlement." Nara looked at him, unsure. "Humans, you have courage. But these creatures, they are strong and many. How can you help?" Ravi thought quickly. "Strength is important, but so is strategy. I've studied their movements, patterns, and weaknesses. If we use the terrain, set traps, and coordinate the females with your males, we can defend the settlement." Nara's eyes sparkled with a mixture of admiration and surprise. "Very well. Let us see if your strategy is as clever as your courage." Ravi worked alongside Nara to organize the Zyra. The females, inspired by his previous bravery, took active roles rather than hiding. Ravi placed traps near narrow paths, dug small pits camouflaged with rocks, and guided the Zyra to positions where they could observe enemy movement safely. He coordinated signals with Nara, so every group moved in harmony. As the rival aliens advanced, the first wave triggered the traps. They fell into camouflage pits, their movements slowed, and their surprise allowed the Zyra to repel them with minimal risk. Ravi ran from position to position, helping block paths, guiding the females, and using the terrain to their advantage. One of the younger Zyra females looked frightened. Ravi knelt beside her. "Stay calm, trust your strength and your mind. You are not alone." She nodded, following his guidance to a safe vantage point. Ravi smiled. It wasn't brute force alone that won battles, it was courage, intelligence, and teamwork. Hours passed, and the battle continued. The rival aliens adapted, sending faster scouts and trying to flank the settlement. Ravi anticipated their moves, redirecting the Zyra and setting new traps. Nara fought beside him, her movements precise and strong. Together, they inspired the Zyra females to stand firm, no longer hiding behind cliffs or behind the males. Eventually, the rival aliens began to retreat. Their strategy had been clever, but they were no match for the combined courage and intelligence of the Zyra and their human ally. The settlement remained safe, the rivers and glowing cliffs untouched. When the last of the enemy ships disappeared. Over the horizon, Ravi and Nara stood together on the plateau, surveying the calm after the storm. Nara's eyes shone with pride. You have changed everything. You led, protected, and inspired. Humans, perhaps you are worthy of trust." After all, Ravi shook his head slightly, humbled. "I only did what I could. But I could not have done it without you. Without your guidance, the females' courage, and the cooperation of your people, we would not have succeeded." The Zyra males approached cautiously. Kiro, the lead male, nodded. "You have done more than survive this day. You have proven your wisdom, courage, and leadership. Humans, perhaps you are not outsiders to be ignored, but allies to be respected." The females whispered among themselves, glances of admiration and gratitude passing between them. Ravi noticed subtle gestures of acknowledgement, a nod, a soft smile, a respectful bow. He realized that his efforts had shifted their perception. He was no longer just a human on their planet. He was a protector, a strategist, and a trusted companion. As evening fell, Ravi and Nara walked along the riverbank, the glowing water reflecting the stars above. Today, Nara said softly, "You have shown the true value of courage, not just in battle, but in heart and mind. Few Zyra male or female could have done what you did." Ravi smiled. "I've learned from all of you. Your courage, your strength, your wisdom, it inspired me. Humans can adapt, yes, but it is learning from others that makes us stronger." Nara studied him for a long moment, her expression softening. "You are no longer just a human who dared to approach the untouchable. You are someone who has proven humanity itself can stand beside us, worthy of trust and respect." Ravi felt a deep sense of accomplishment, but also a sense of responsibility. This was not the end of his journey. Zithra held more mysteries, more challenges, and more opportunities to prove that humans could be more than outsiders. For now, though, he allowed himself a moment of peace. The settlement was safe. The rival aliens had retreated, and the Zyra females were beginning to see humans in a new light. The bond he had formed with Nara and the respect he had earned from the rest of the Zyra felt like the first true connection between two very different worlds. As the twin moons rose over the cliffs, casting silver light across the plateau, Ravi made a quiet vow. He would continue to protect, to learn, and to show that humans could be brave, intelligent, and honorable. Nara's hand brushed against his as they walked. "Tomorrow," she said, "you may face new tests, but today you have proven that humans can be more than we imagine." Ravi nodded, his eyes reflecting the glowing river and the stars above. He had faced danger, inspired courage, and forged trust where none had existed before. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, he felt that humans could truly belong on Zithra and perhaps, one day, earn a place beside the untouchable Zyra females as allies and friends. And with that thought, Ravi looked ahead, ready for whatever Zithra would challenge him with next. The morning sun cast warm light over the plateau. The settlement was calm, the glowing rivers reflecting the sky like mirrors. Ravi walked beside Nara, feeling a sense of peace he had never known on Zithra. The trials, the battles, and the challenges were behind them, yet the bond he had formed with the Zyra was just beginning to grow. Nara turned to him, her expression serious but soft. "Ravi, today you will meet the full council of Zyra. They will decide if your presence among us is permanent. If they approve, you will no longer be just a human visitor, you will be a trusted ally, accepted fully by our people." Ravi's heart raced. He had earned partial respect, survived dangerous encounters, and proved his courage and wisdom. But this was different. This was a moment where the entire Zyra society could recognize his place. The council chamber was carved into the cliffs, a semi-open structure overlooking the glowing river. The Zyra females stood along the edges, their eyes curious but respectful. The males were seated in their positions of authority, their expressions cautious, some still skeptical. Nara guided Ravi to the center. Kiro, the lead male, spoke first. "Ravi, human, you have proven courage, intelligence, and compassion in ways none before you have. You have faced danger, aided our people, and demonstrated respect for our customs. But acceptance is not granted lightly. You must speak to the council." Ravi took a deep breath. "I am honored to stand here. I have come to Zithra not to take, not to conquer, but to learn, and to show that humans can be trusted allies. I have acted to protect your people, to honor your ways, and to understand your world. I do not seek privilege or power. I seek friendship, trust, and the opportunity to prove that humans can be more than outsiders." The chamber was silent for a moment. Then Nara stepped forward. "Ravi speaks truth. His actions have shown what words alone cannot. Humans can be brave, clever, and honorable. He has earned the respect of the females and the admiration of some of the males." One of the older males spoke, his voice low but firm. "Actions have weight. He has proven himself in danger, in trials, and in leadership. Yet humans are unpredictable. How can we be certain he will continue to act with honor? Ravi bowed slightly. I understand your caution. Trust is earned, not demanded. I will continue to act with respect, intelligence, and care. My future actions will show my heart more than any words ever could. A soft hum ran through the chamber as the council deliberated. Nara stood beside Ravi, her eyes shining with quiet hope. Minutes passed, and finally Kiro spoke again. The council has decided. Ravi, human, you are no longer merely a visitor. You are an accepted ally of the Zyra. You may remain among us, learn with us, and aid us as you have shown you can. Your courage, intelligence, and compassion have earned this place. Ravi's heart leapt. He bowed deeply. Thank you. I will honor this trust and continue to serve your people with all I can offer. The Zyra females approached, some nodding, some offering subtle gestures of approval. Even the skeptical males now showed acknowledgement in their eyes. Ravi felt the weight of acceptance, a sense of belonging that no human before him had experienced on Zithra. Nara stepped close, her eyes softening. You have done more than survive, Ravi. You have changed how our people see humans. You have proven that courage, intelligence, and kindness are stronger than prejudice. Ravi smiled. I have learned from all of you. Your courage, your wisdom, your traditions. They have guided me. Humans can adapt and learn. And perhaps one day, our two peoples can grow together, stronger for it. As the sun set over the cliffs, Ravi walked through the settlement with Nara. The glowing rivers reflected the orange and purple sky, and the air was filled with the gentle hum of Zithra's life. The females moved freely now, some glancing at him with curiosity, others with warmth and quiet respect. Kiro approached, his voice firm but not unkind. You have earned your place, but remember, trust is maintained through action. Continue to honor our ways, and you will be respected even more. I understand, Ravi said. I will not forget what I have learned here. That night, Ravi and Nara sat by the river, the glowing waters casting soft light across their faces. You have done something remarkable, Nara said softly. No human has ever walked among us, earned trust, and shown such courage and wisdom. You have not only proven humanity's strength, but you have changed our world. Ravi looked at her, his heart full of quiet pride and hope. I have learned that bravery is more than facing danger. It is about respect, care, and understanding. Humans can be strong in ways the galaxy never imagined. And I hope that we can build a future. Together, Zyra and humans. Nara smiled, a small, genuine expression that reached her eyes. Perhaps the untouchable are not untouchable forever. Perhaps trust and respect can bridge worlds. Ravi nodded, feeling the weight of his journey and the promise of the future. He had crossed barriers, faced danger, and earned acceptance where none had thought possible. On Zithra, among the glowing rivers and cliffs, a human had shown that courage, intelligence, and compassion could change even the most guarded hearts. As the twin moons rose over the plateau, Ravi felt a sense of peace. He had found friendship, trust, and a purpose beyond what he had ever known. The Zyra had accepted him, and in turn, he had proven that humans could stand as allies, friends, and protectors, not outsiders, but partners in a world full of wonder and challenge. And as the stars reflected in the glowing river, Ravi knew that this was only the beginning. Together with Nara, the Zyra females, and even the once skeptical males, they could face any challenge Zithra or the galaxy might send. For the first time, Ravi felt that humans could belong, not just on Zithra, but anywhere courage, wisdom, and kindness were valued. And the untouchable Zyra, once distant and wary, had found a human worthy of trust, a friend, an ally, and perhaps something more. The plateau was quiet, the night air warm, and for the first time, humans and Zyra could look toward a future built on respect, understanding, and shared strength.